India's regional parties are cursed by a peculiar voodoo. In the first part of this argument, I have spoken about how the electoral footprint of a regional party stops dead at the border of the state in which its patriarch or its matriarch is domiciled. But then I have postulated that two stormy petrels and current chief ministers, that's Mamata Banerjee and Arvind Kejriwal, they are now exerting every sinew to break this voodoo and emerge as the first among equals in an opposition cohort that hopes to challenge Prime Minister Modi in 2024. Mamata Banerjee scores on seniority and political heft. She is a contemporary political colossus in a large state of nearly 100 million people. She is a battle-scarred veteran and someone who's got relationships across the spectrum, especially among India's swivel politicians. You know, those regional titans who can run with the hare, that's the BJP, and also hunt with the hound, that's the opposition. Who, you would ask, who are these people? Well, imagine a podium of Naveen Patnaik, Odisha, K. Chandrasekhar Rao, Telangana, Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy, Andhra Pradesh, the Gowda father and son from Karnataka, Nitish Kumar from Bihar, the Chautala family from Haryana, and now even the Badals from Punjab. These are swivel politicians who could happily support Mamata in case she is able to cobble enough numbers in Lok Sabha. Arvind Kejriwal, on the other hand, is a junior. He's a relatively lightweight opposition politician. His bailiwick in the state of Delhi has barely got 30 million people with a mere handful of members in parliament. He hardly commands any currency with this swivel group. But he is young and popular with urban youth, perhaps the most vocal constituency in India's emerging politics. His IIT creds add to his popularity. Against Mamata's hard secularism or pro-minorityism, Arvind Kejriwal is comfortable. He's comfortable mimicking the soft secularism plus, sleeve nationalism pitch, a bit like the BJP. Arguably, Kejriwal's political heft is WIP. It's a work in progress, which is accelerating with each passing day. But for now, on sheer political chutzpah, it's advantage Mamata. Witness how she can wrest BJP heavyweights, including Bahl Supriyo, who was Prime Minister Modi's very recent cabinet colleague. Now that's a feat that is unthinkable for any other opposition politician. In fact, while Mamata held her own against Modi in parliament elections in West Bengal in 2019, Kejriwal was routed in his Delhi stronghold. So on sheer political chutzpah, it's game, set and match to Mamata. However, Arvind Kejriwal enjoys a stronger halo of perception, and that is so cardinal in politics. Delhi is not a region, but a microcosm of India. The city-state does not have a native ethnicity or language. Every Indian can identify with the capital city. Nobody is barred, excluded, or isolated. This has freed Arvind Kejriwal from the boundaries of a particular state. His political personality, can freely roam the full diversity of India. He speaks in English and Hindi, which again makes him a pan-India figure. On the contrary, Mamata Banerjee, she's seen as a towering Bengali politician, and that's by the rest of India. She can rouse the rabble in Bengal, but is clearly hobbled in creating a similar resonance in the cow belt. She's much more susceptible to the curse. Remember the curse of the voodoo, that is an incarceration within her own state's boundaries, much more so than Arvind Kejriwal. She will therefore need to do something dramatic to acquire a seamless national profile. Perhaps, become as fluent in Hindi as she is in her native Bengali, and do a Modi by contesting from Lucknow or New Delhi. But both these are very tall asks in the 3 years left until 2024. Delhi also hands over another ace to Arvind Kejriwal. By ruling over the national capital, he enjoys a higher than proportionate presence in national media. He can use Delhi's surplus budget to splash himself across newspaper ads, television, and digital screens in the power capital. On the other hand, Mamata cannot justify spending the Bengali taxpayers' money with the same, profligacy in Delhi. Kejriwal also gets to geotag big political events, for example, by visiting foreign dignitaries where he can play a mini Modi. But Mamata is closeted in an eastern corner of India for much of the year. So she has to make 10 times the effort to get into national consciousness, something that, happens almost naturally for someone who can be called Delhi's second ruler. Now that we've catalogued the natural strengths and weaknesses of Mamata and Kejriwal, let's pivot to their contrasting electoral strategies. Now, Mamata seems to be acutely aware of the voodoo, which is why she is taking aggressive steps to expand her Bengali outreach in Assam and Tripura, trying to catch out the Congress in the east while playing footsie with it elsewhere. It's a practical and intelligent pan-regional and not a pan-national strategy. This will give her higher parliamentary numbers, more chips at the table when and if it ever comes to jostling for the top job in a coalition national government. As against this, Arvind Kejriwal is spraying himself in an everywhere contest against the Congress. Punjab, Goa, Gujarat, Uttarakhand. It's an audacious, almost desperate attempt to usurp the Congress's dwindling national space, especially since he does not allow powerful regional colleagues to step out of his shadow. But Arvind Kejriwal is also an equal anathema to the BJP. That, of course, is as much of an advantage as a disadvantage. He can pick up disgruntled votes from both, but he also has to fight a two-front war. So at current reckoning, Kejriwal may not pick up enough votes to cross the threshold, but will be accused of playing the spoiler against the Congress and a united opposition. Now, this is where we inject the critical differentiator, that is, the stance of the Congress party and the Gandhi family. While they are implacably opposed to Arvind Kejriwal, they see a frenemy in Mamata Banerjee. She still enjoys a rapport with Sonia Gandhi, and if push comes to shove, she can rely on her erstwhile boss's support. Curiously, she is also pally with the G23, that's the rebel group of 23 Congress letter writers, or even someone like the 24th or the 25th rebels, perhaps known as Amarinder Singh and Bhupesh Baghel. Finally, she's got a line open with ex-congressmen like Sharad Pawar and Jagan Reddy, who may feel far more comfortable dealing with her than an unknown maverick like Arvind Kejriwal. So therefore, to put it starkly, Mamata only has to co-opt the Gandhis and ex-congressmen to vault to the top. Kejriwal has to destroy the Congress to have a shot at the top slot. Ultimately, she will only need a very dexterous act of deal-making. But he will have to undertake the monumental task of creatively destroying the grand old party. But of course, all of this could be so much a wasted labor of love because, hey, who says there's a vacancy in the Prime Minister's office in 2024?
We are truthful, unafraid and independent because of you. Now you can help our reporting from the ground. Go to thequint.com, click Become a Member tab, choose a plan and pay. Because the truth is worth it.